But as usual, there is the design house, and then our purpose is to help graphic designers get inspired and also try to learn and get some few concepts day in day out. That's our purpose. So Big Mike, you can call me Mike, and then my co-host is also uh, Roosevelt. Yeah. So
Yeah.
to- today's lesson, we are diving straight into what makes a great design. So
Okay.
basically, what we are going to look at is that sometimes when you look at designs, the question sometimes you ask yourself is that, do you really feel something? Have you ever felt something when you look at a design? Not just, oh, the design looks nice, but like something deeper than that. Has the design also spoken to you to, like, how did it do? This design has really touched me. Yes. So we are going to dive into the magic behind that feeling. So the question is, what truly makes a design great? So I'll let Roosevelt take the lead to start with the session, and then we take it from there. So Roosevelt, you can start with us.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Roosevelt. And then the today's topic is about what makes a great design. So when you hear the question, what makes a great design? Can any one of you tell me what actually makes a great design? Just some few things about what makes a great design. And also bear in mind there is no wrong answer over here. Just feel free and then share your thoughts. So can someone tell me what really makes a great design? Uh, just let's say one person also.
Okay, I feel a great design is a design that carries a lot of factors that is able to drive the reader or the one with the design. So whenever you pick a design, you can see that, nah, this design feels so good. So that it gives this kind of feeling, that good feeling that, oh yeah, these things the designer has done is really a good one. And then there are certain points in time where you see certain factors that the designer has really applied it very well, and throughout the design you can see that, yeah, this is really a great design, not just a mere design that you can say that, oh, this is just a normal design. But great design, you can feel like there's this kind of legacy behind the design, there's this kind of uh, thing behind the design that really moves you
Okay,
as a reader or a designer. That's what I think, though.
okay. Please, any suggestions to any suggestion, like any ideas again? Hello. Yeah, Mr. Francis. Mr. Francis, you can speak.
Okay. Thanks. Uh, so for me, I think what makes a design great is one that is able to convey the intended message that is behind it
Okay.
without needing to say over complicate itself. They say
Yeah.
that if you have to explain certain things in order for some people to understand, then in a way you've missed it. More like
Okay.
it's supposed to hit the target, but somehow you are now directing as to where the target is.
Okay.
Yeah. So in a
Yeah.
way, once it's able to convey that message and is
Mm-hmm.
able to speak to its target audience
Okay.
for them to actually understand without needing to go too much into detail. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a design like that always tends to hit the spot. It has a way it connects with the people as it does with even just no not even just target audience. That people actually see that and tend to go, oh, okay, it's actually trying to convey something here.
Mr.
And
Francis.
most
Okay.
people see they just go, okay, it's fine.
Mm,
It happens to me a lot sometimes. You just see something that goes, it's
mm,
fine. But then there's some you see they're like, oh, okay, that's what it actually
Yeah.
is.
All right.
So if it's able to convey that message well without
Mm-hmm.
too much explanation needed, following
Sure.
the steps that are mentioned in the great design. That's what I feel makes it a
Right.
great design. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Okay, so now let's move on to what actually makes a great design. So the first thing that we'll be talking about is purpose. So as designers, we need to start every design with a purpose. Whatever design that you want to start, just whatever design I want to do, just start with a purpose. Whether you are designing a logo, a flyer, a brochure, or a banner, you should always have a purpose attached to the design that you want to do. So for me, I would say that whenever you're about a, to start a design, just ask yourself some few questions, such as let's say, what is the design trying to achieve? Or like, what am I trying to achieve with the design that I'm about to do? Because whenever you ask yourself these kind of questions, like it helps you get the purpose for the design. Let me give you an example. Let's say when you are asked to design a flyer for, let's say, to design a party flyer. And after designing the party flyer, the flyer feels like a CV. See that feeling like a CV wouldn't be cool. Because let's say if a company like VGM has contacted you to work on their designs for the upcoming VGM, and after working on the design, and you send the designs over to the VGMA people, and then when they saw the design felt like a CV. Like you design it in a way that it looks like a CV. Like it wouldn't even make them happy, and because of that design, they may even lose some clients as well. And one key thing, when you are designing and then you have a purpose in mind, and you notice that the design is matching the goal or the purpose, then it means you're on the right path. So I would say that always when working on a design, try and have a purpose behind the design. Whether it's a logo, a flyer, a brochure, or a banner, always have a purpose attached to the design. Let me show you some examples of what I'm talking about. Let me show you some examples. I'll talk about the design on the left first. So with the design on the left, you could see that the font that the designer used for the design, like it looks like the font is used, the font used is friendly, and it also had that kind of fun vibe. Because when you are designing something for, let's say, games and fun, the font that you have to use shouldn't be too serious, but then the font should look friendly, and also it should have that kind of fun vibe. And the next thing is that the image that the designer used on the flyer, the image used also shows that the event is for games and then for fun. So the purpose for that flyer is to create that kind of fun vibe through games. And the design elements used on the flyer also emphasizes on that. Now let's move on to the design on the right side. The moment you see that design, you know that, oh, this design is for a church, it's a church something, it's for a church program or something. So the design depicts something like a church setting. So with the image that the designer used also emphasizes on that kind of church something or church vibe. So it's really important to always have a purpose whenever you are designing something. Now let's move on to the second point. Okay, so the second point is simplicity. Can anyone tell me what simplicity means? About one or two people can tell me what simplicity means, then we move on. Oh, okay, okay, cool. Can anyone tell me like what simplicity means? I need about one or two people to tell me what simplicity means. in terms of design. Big Mike, can you help with that? What does simplicity
Yeah,
means?
sure. Yeah, I can help with that.
Okay.
Well, basically, you are talking about uh, in design. Basically, you're talking about not using more like overly stuff to work on a design. So you cannot just use crowded stuff. You cannot just use too many information. So possibly you are using less but important and strong elements to represent uh, something big. Understand, and makes it so simple and understandable and recognizable for people to get along with.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Oh,
Okay.
I should go. Okay. Mr. Francis
Yeah,
can go.
I agree with what Big Mike just said. Not
Okay.
using too many things, but I also believe you can use less things
Mm-hmm.
to communicate the message as well.
Okay.
If I may, looking at the example of the flyers you just used,
Okay.
yes, you notice there was just one image and
Mm-hmm.
then the text.
Sure.
Yes. So most people usually go through this process of creating these sort of like colorful backdrops using these elements flying up and down and then those things. It can be fun, yes, but sometimes it's really not needed.
Okay.
So with that first example, it's actually a very, very good example that you use. So with that first example, we can see that the message in itself is still communicated regardless of the number of elements you have. It was just the text and then the image. But you can actually see that, oh, okay, this is it. This is actually what we're going to be doing. Let's get prepared.
Okay.
So
That's
basically, not using too much, but also being able to use less to effectively communicate the message that you are spreading across. That's what I
okay.
feel simplicity is.
Okay. Okay. That's great. That's great. So when it comes to simplicity, I would say that you don't have to try to do too much. That's when it comes to simplicity in terms of design. You don't have to try to do too much because clean design doesn't mean boring, but then it means focused. You don't have to use too many fonts, too many colors, too many elements because whenever we tend to use too many fonts, too many colors, and then too many design elements, the message that you are trying to get across usually gets lost. Let's say there are instances where you can use too many colors and then too many design elements, but then you have to make sure that you are using them really well so that the message that you are trying to get across doesn't get lost. But for me personally, I would say that you don't have to use too many fonts, too many colors, and then too many design elements on when working on a design. Because even great designers know when to stop adding. Uh, Let me show you an example of what I'm trying to say. All right. So I want us to take about 5 seconds and then let's take a look at these three logos over here. Just 5 seconds. Let's take a look at these three logos over here. Okay. Can someone tell me more about the logo, the first logo? That's the one in black. The one at it's on my left side. Yeah. The very first logo before the Mastercard logo. Can someone say something about that particular logo? Hello.
Sorry.
Hello. Can
Yeah, we can hear
some
you, Francis.
Okay, okay, okay. Can someone say anything about the first logo? What's the name of that? What's the name of the company that uses the first logo? Mhm.
And it's Nike.
Okay. How are you able to know that that logo belongs to Nike? Can you please explain it a little bit? Just feel free. How are you able to know that that logo is for Nike?
Okay, well,
Mhm.
for one, it's not too much detail.
Mhm.
It's also memorable. It's actually something easy to remember. It's like with the form of it's like in the form of a tick sign,
Okay.
though it has a few extra weight to it around some points.
Mm,
So not too much detail. It's actually easy to remember. Like it's memorable as a logo.
okay.
And for one,
Mm,
the company that does it doesn't just sell products, they sell a certain vision to
mhm.
its consumers or its buyers. Yes.
Okay.
So in a way,
Mm,
it's more not just a logo, it's a representation of a certain vision or
mm,
a certain kind of feeling or emotion that comes with the product as well.
okay. Okay. That's good. That's good. Okay. So I think the reason why you were able to remember or recognize the the logo is very simple. They use just the switch, just the switch sign. Although they didn't add the company's name to the design, but then you were able to recognize it because like you always associate that sign with the Nike brand. And let's check the logo in the middle, the Mastercard. That logo is also very simple. It just uses two circles which are overlapping. So with the Mastercard logo, it uses its two circles overlapping on one another. So let's say if I asked you to maybe draw the Mastercard logo, you can easily draw it because it's simple and memorable. Because they use just two circles which are overlapping. Same thing applies to the third logo, that's the target. Because of the elements that they use in the design, they didn't use too much. With a target logo like this, they use just circles. And at a first glance, you will remember the logo. When you're asked to draw it, you can draw it off head. Now let's move on to other examples that we have. Okay, so over here we have two flyers. These are all very simple flyers. They didn't add too much, but then still the flyers look great. Let's talk about the first flyer on the left. So with the first flyer on the left, you could see that they used an iPhone image, that's one. Then it has a shape, that's two. And then the third element that they use is text. So the rectangle or the shape is that rectangle beneath it, where like the place they've written Apple Reseller Program Partner. That's where the shape is, the rectangle. So they placed a rectangle and then they added the text on that rectangle. And the second thing is the image used. And you can see that with the top side, they use just 3 lines of text, giving room for the 3 lines of text to breathe, which makes the design really nice and simple as well. Let's move on to the flyer on the right side. So with the flyer on the right side too, the designer made it in a way that it looks really simple. He used just two shapes, and then the model, and he also added the text and then their social media handles. And when you check the colors too, he didn't use too many colors. He used the colors of the dress that the model was wearing. He used one for one shape, and then he used the other color for the bigger shape too. Okay, now let's move on to the next point, the third point. That's the third point. So the third point is visual hierarchy. With visual hierarchy in terms of design, I would say that it means guiding the viewer's eye. As in, what should the viewer see first? And then after seeing that first thing, what else should the viewer see again? So whenever you hear visual hierarchy in design, just think of it as guiding the viewer's eye. Because great designs always tell the eyes where to look. Whenever you see a great design, the design itself will show you the viewer where to look first. And visual hierarchy can also be achieved through the use of size, colors, spacing, and other factors too as well. Let's take a look at some examples that apply the visual hierarchy in them. Okay, so let me ask one question. We will start with the design on the left side. When looking at the flyer on the left side, what's one thing that what's the very first thing you see on the design? Like whenever you look at the design, what do you see first on the design? Can someone tell me? When you look at the design on the left, what do you see first? I need
I
about
mean,
one or two people to say something.
that'll be the shoe, the shoes
Mhm.
that the individual is wearing.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
Can
that the shoe first before the logo and then the text.
okay, okay. Who else can tell me what he or she sees first? Big Mike,
Yes, sir.
what do you see? What do you see first?
It's just what Francis said. It's just what I see first is just shoe. The shoe.
Okay,
So that's the first thing that catches my eye before any other thing else. So
okay,
basically, the shoe tries to give us a sense of direction. So the shoe drives us to the text. That's what I feel like.
okay,
So yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's good. And I believe that the designer did that on purpose. You know, Nike, I think they sell shoes. So the designer is trying to drive the viewer's eye to the shoes first before anything on the flyer. So whenever you look at the flyer on the left, the shoe is what you see first. And then he emphasizes it by enlarging the image. So when you look at the flyer, you see that the shoe is the, let's say, the biggest thing on the flyer before you see their logo, then before the eye moves to the flying since 1964. And then you see the last text at the last text below the flying since 1964. That's the last thing that you will see. The igniting greatness since 64. So the designer intentionally did that just to draw viewers' attention to the shoe first before they move on to the logo, then the main text over there. That's the flying since 1964. Let's move on to the flyer on our right side. With the flyer on the right side too, the very first thing that you see is the illustration. Whenever you look at the flyer on the right, the very first thing that you see is the illustration. Before the eye moves to the, let's say, an Olympic catastrophe, then your eye will then move to Sunday review. And after that, your eye moves to the text content at the bottom left corner. And with this design too, I'm sure the designer intentionally did that. Uh, let's move on to the next point. Okay, so with the next point, we have what we call consistency and alignment. With this one, it's a bit tricky, but then I'll try my best and then explain it. So with this, I'll say that a good design is like a good song. Every piece works together. The fonts matches, the spacing kind of even, elements line up, and nothing feels out of place. Let me show you some examples of what I'm trying to say about the consistency and then the alignment. Okay, so now I'll first talk about the design on the left side before I move to the design on the right. So the design on the left side is it's more talking about the alignment thing. And with the design on the left too, you could see that they they use some kind of visual hierarchy in it. So with that design, when you look at it, what you see first is good design is a little design as possible. That's the very first thing you see on the flyer. And the remaining text has been left aligned, and it makes the design really great. And they didn't also like they use just those designs and they align them really well. They didn't cover all the spaces with the text. They gave room for the text to breathe. Let's move on to the design on the right. The design on the right is more about consistency. The reason why I'm talking about consistency is that you can see that at the top part where the how do you call it, where that pattern thing is, you can see green colors over there. And when you check their logo, the garden, the name beneath the garden, you can see that they also added some kind of green over there. Their main text also has some green. And where the speakers are, you could also see that there are some green colors over there. And with the backgrounds too, you can see some kind of greens in it. And at the bottom too, there are some green elements over there. So with the design on the left, on the right side, it's more of about that consistency, the consistency thing that I'm talking about. So they used the green color consistently in that particular design. Let's move on to the next one, please. Okay, so the next point is emotion. And whenever you hear about emotion in terms of design, it's about how the design makes you feel. Design isn't just about how it looks, but then it's also about how the design makes you feel. And I believe every great design triggers something, whether it's excitement, trust, urgency, calm, sadness. Every great design always triggers something. Let me show you some examples of what I'm talking about. Okay, Big Mike, can you please come in here for me? Just explain this part for me, and then let's continue.
Okay. Since every design, I think triggers, how do you call it, emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the first image, it triggers compassion. Yes, compassion in the sense that when you see this little guy over here, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look happy. He doesn't. He looks, Can I see? Can I use the word wretched or hungry? Understand? So it's
Okay.
like this. Look, taking into consideration the background. The background can also relate to somewhere dusty, somewhere poor, like a village where like there's no improvement in the society. So even
Okay.
the color will even tell you that they use, I think, a warm orange, and the color will even tell you that yes, this thing is not good. They are going to help this child. Where is this guy coming from? What
Mm-hmm.
is making this person sad? So it all drives to compassion as
Okay.
the as a designer. That's what I see. And
Okay.
even to a normal person, that's what the person is going to see because the child doesn't look happy, and it's obvious that he's not happy. Understand?
Mm,
And even the text even confirms everything now. Evening of hope. The child is hopeless. So yeah, so that's the idea behind the first option. So looking
okay.
at the second one too, I feel like this we can reminisce memories with old school vibe. You can see that the theme they use is basically old school. Sometimes when you watch movies and then they want to show you some throwbacks or something, they
Okay.
use kind of black and white theme to just depict that. And looking at the car behind these two guys, even their dresses, even the font, it looks a bit old school, but we can really catch the vibe inside. And this
Okay.
kind of thing always gives us this drive that yeah, Charlie. So when you are there and you just feel like, oh, like yeah, I really miss old school. I really feel like dressing like this. I understand.
Yeah.
So me, that's what I feel like.
Okay. At the back. At the back. Mm. Now let's move on to the next point. So the next point that we have here is innovation or freshness. Sometimes what makes a great design is about how different and then how bold the design is. And always great designers are not afraid to try something new as long as it flex. So what this is trying to say that sometimes with innovation or freshness, you have to think outside the box. But whilst thinking outside the box, you need to make sure that the design still works. Although you are thinking outside the box, but always make sure that the design still works. Let's check some examples on that too as well. Okay, so when we take a look at these two designs over here, you can see that it doesn't look like most of our normal flyers over here. it has a different feel altogether. But then the design still works. It communicates well with the audience as well. And each information that they are trying to give out have been well designed, and then you can also you can easily spot out the design that the message that they are trying to give. So as designers, sometimes we have to try and bend the rules a little bit. Although we have to stick to the rules, but sometimes you have to bend the rules a little bit. But when bending the rules, always make sure that it still works. Uh-huh. When you bend the rule and then the design still works, that's fine. But then when you bend the rules and then the design doesn't work,
Then
that's not fine at all. So make sure when you outside the box, you make sure that the design still works. Um, Now, Big Mike, let's move on to the next one. So now let's break down some few designs, some few rule designs together, and I would like Big Mike to take over from here. So Big Mike, you can come in over.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So far so good, and I believe we are learning something. But please, I want to know whether you have some few questions, whether you have a question, anything that bothers your mind. It's an opportunity for us to interact and also share our ideas and then try to learn something new. So far, if you have something new, something you want to add up or any question for us, you can still ask whilst we
Yeah.
continue. So you can just raise your hand and if you have any questions for that. Yeah. So let's take some few designs. We are just doing some few exercises to see whether we get the concept, and then also we can try to correct ourselves as we move on. So looking at this two designs, which one do you think is good and which one do you think is bad? Please, this is so interactive. This is so. I want this to be fun. Looking at these two designs.
I can see that.
Hello.
Hey, yeah. So Big
I don't
Mike,
like bright colors just tend to melt my eyes. That's all.
Come again. Please come again with your speech. I didn't really get you.
I think the mixture of colors and everything is just melting my eyes. Like I really can't tell what's going on. At least for
Okay.
the other one, you can. At least for the other ones, you can see that there's something happening. It's a lot of text and placement. So in a way, it's not that much. But what on the right, it's what's convoluting. I guess it.
Okay.
Oh, there's a click here to enter. I'm now seeing that. Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like Gabby wants to say something. Gabby, you can't talk.
oh yeah, for me, I think the design on the left is okay because I can see some text and there's images, and it also has a background. So I think that's my opinion though. So I think it's okay. What do you have to say?
Okay. the truth is, they're all bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're all bad. Just that. There's nothing good. All the rules have been broken. Understand? There's
Okay.
no form of consistency. They've
They
used
weren't really
a lot of
broken though.
evidence. Okay.
I would say like they weren't really broken, more like they weren't followed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
So I feel like they are all bad. Just that we're just trying to compare these two, whether it's bad or not. So I feel you guys. Feel you guys. So let's check the next example.
Okay.
Is this one good or bad?
Mm.
Yes, it looks like someone is inside. Can I mention a name? Mills. Mills, please, can you say something for us?
This mic is on mute. So.
Looks
Yeah,
like.
hi.
Hi, yeah,
Mills.
yeah, yeah, Mills.
I'm in town. That's why I'm not saying anything.
Oh,
I'm
that's
okay,
fine.
Mills.
That's fine. That's
Yes,
fine.
madam.
That's fine. But can you still say something for us? Something small.
Okay, with this one, I think there is too much information and it looks scattered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's fine.
the color, there are too many
Many
colors
colors.
too.
Okay.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. That's right. Mr. Franz, do you have anything to say?
Well, she has also said it. There's a lot of information going on. It's
Okay.
all over the place. You can't seem to tell which is which.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot. You can't really tell.
Okay. Is there any other person here? Okay.
Yeah. I also think the design is a bad design. Yeah, bad design. Within our idea, it's a bad design. Yeah.
I think when we started graphic design, we used to make certain designs like this, and we were
Yes.
so happy with these ones. I was
What?
so happy. I
Okay,
think
well, okay.
so.
Yeah,
This
we all made bad
yeah,
design.
no,
So
in
this
a
one is
way,
too bad.
because it feels like even when someone started, we didn't really make that sort of a mistake.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember I sent it to the client, and he was like, "Mike, this design is bad," and I give up. I gave up for some few months. I told myself I wouldn't design again because nah, what I'm designing for my heart. Because genuinely, when you do it, you feel happy because you know you've added text, you know you've added certain elements to make it catchy. But no, it's yeah, you've just done a lot of excuse me to say shit slow. All right, so
Yeah,
let's
like
move on to the okay.
yeah,
Looks like Mr.
Okay,
Francis wants to say something.
okay, fine, it's gone tough.
yeah, I kind of feel like most of the people that start out as designers don't tend to get a better understanding of what actually
Um, please, can you? Looks like there's some little noise behind at your background or something. So if you can get it clear for us.
mine, right?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Okay, I was saying that most people when they start out, as
Yeah,
designers, tend
Okay.
to not really understand the principles of what you really go into a design.
Okay.
When
yeah, yeah.
right when I started, for instance, me, I thought it was all about drag and drop.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, just pick this, put it here. Pick this,
Okay.
this, put it here. Like in a way, you might think that's what they do all the time, but they don't. And it was at that point I was like, no, I actually have to go back to the basics. There's a lot of
Exactly.
there's a lot of so
But at least I
it's
can still
going
see
back
some
to those
consistency
basics.
inside, though.
Huh?
I can still see some consistency inside. I can see some red. I can see some blue. You know.
Yeah, I think this one is too much. It's too
Oh
much.
yeah, it's too much. It's too much. Okay.
Yeah,
So
just
let's move on to one other design and see.
okay.
So yeah, what do you think about this design?
Mm,
So
the fans we can't hear
your
you.
opinions have to come from like professional or is does it have to be like a professional opinion or you're just I don't look at
Like with this one, we are just trying to differentiate between something like good designs and then bad designs. So with this particular one, he's asking us that is this design, let's say, a good design or a bad design? Looking at what we've learned today. Um,
okay. Okay,
okay,
that's it.
Nurse wants to say something.
Okay, Mills, you can talk. Yeah.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I think this is a good design
Okay.
Okay.
with the
Um.
background,
Uh-huh.
the color blend.
Okay.
I think the color speaks a lot about the image.
Sure.
Okay.
That's true. Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Nice. Yeah.
so it's a good design.
All right.
Okay.
Thank
That's fine. That's fine. So I also think there's the use of hierarchy is kind of it's quite a good one. They really use a hierarchy rule over here. I
you.
don't know whether you agree with me.
Oh,
Yes,
I
yes.
agree with you.
So in this case, which what kind of elements catches you first? What drives you first?
Okay, for me, whenever I look at this particular design, what I see first is the images, like the models at the bottom part of it.
Okay,
Images, the man and then the woman over there. Then
okay.
that is it purple or violet thing. Uh-huh.
Ribbon is like a ribbon.
Then,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that
the
so
ribbon kind
before
of drives us
um,
to the text.
yes. So I see
Okay.
the people first before my eye moves to. We go the extra mile for it, the text over there. Mhm. So that's
But
what.
okay, okay. Mr. Francis. Okay. Mills will also wants to say something. Oh, Mills, you can talk. You
Oh
can
no
talk.
no no. I've said all.
Okay. Okay,
Hey,
Mr. Francis.
okay. It's also a good design. It's also a good design. Everything is in its right place as it should. You see the main details at the top side, or that's the important ones at the greater section of that design. That is, we go the extra mile for you, and then the representatives you see there. Before you come to the lower section, almost like around the footnote side, where you now see the details and then those
Okay.
things. But then the main thing is what you see. That's what
The
is
image.
actually boldly
Okay.
represented there.
Makes
Yes.
sense.
So
Makes sense.
everything is in its right place. It's a good design.
Yes. So you don't really have an issue with this one. Yeah. Okay. Can you look at this one too?
Mm, okay, okay. Yeah, I think this is also a good design. I think this is a good design.
I guess we all agree with this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm, this
So
is
let's move to it. So let's look at this design. I want you to note something about this design.
is it?
I want you to know something about this design and
Okay.
tell me what is wrong with this design. The design looks very nice. It looks okay. It looks, but there is
Mhm.
something small in this design. It's I think it's a slight error. It's not really a big one, but it kind of give give us as a designer from a designer's eye though.
Mhm.
There's something inside this design. So what can you see? Like there's something wrong with this design. Small one, just
Um,
small element. So
it
can
will
you
be
tell
difficult
us what
to.
you think?
uh, mm, okay. Can I speak?
uh
Or I
yes, you
should
can.
wait?
Okay, yes, you can wait. You can wait.
Okay, okay, okay. Let me wait.
Mr.
Mhm.
Francis, can you
Yes,
can
please.
you say something? There's just something small.
It says it's a good design, but then there is something wrong with the design. That's what I'm trying to
No.
look at. So, okay,
Okay.
Big Mike, the question.
If okay, you wanted to say something. You go on.
Big Mike, the question again.
I'm saying that
Mm-hmm.
we all can see that this design is a good one. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
But there's something small, an element
Mm-hmm.
that is trying to, make the design, you know, like there's an error actually. There's an error inside this design, a small error. So I
Okay.
want you to point out this error inside the
Mm,
design.
okay.
I would feel like it's the text.
The text,
I would
okay.
feel like it's the text. Now, your brain tends to read certain things differently from what you see. So your
Okay.
Yeah.
mind would have already calculated the error, though it's not an error to you, but
Okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay,
you can
okay,
see welcome to church, but then you then take a look and you're like, wait, the two that actually come
okay,
by
okay.
church. You see welcome church, but then you know it's welcome to church.
Mm,
The two there, the two there doesn't really show.
okay.
Okay,
But
that's okay.
yeah. So in a way, I feel like that really makes that sense. That would probably solve the issue.
Okay, Mills, do you have anything to say too?
Mm, I'm a non-designer like me.
Okay.
I think it's the image.
The image. Okay, what is wrong with the image?
Uh, I think the image overlap. That's the bigger one and the one at the top.
Okay. You think the positioning is wrong, or what is really wrong with it?
I think the positioning.
Okay. 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 Mr. Roosevelt, please, can you tell us what's wrong?
Oh, okay. So for me, what I noticed was you see, when you check the bottom part where there are social media handles, when you look at the design, everything looks to be center aligned, but with the with the social media handle part, that part isn't center aligned. It has shifted to the right side, which makes that part feels a bit weird. And then also the arrows that they use, the arrow at the top, that one is okay for me. So because I think our that one drives our eye to the text where that's welcome to church. But the arrow at the getting to the bottom left side, the arrow is also moving up. I don't know whether maybe the arrow should have gone down and then maybe I don't know. Maybe it should have been on the 18 downhill road, let's say the venue. It should have drive our attention to the venue, but rather it's moving up. So I don't know what the designer was trying to achieve over the purpose of that particular the second arrow that the designer used. Uh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I think.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Mr. Francis, please, do you agree with Mr. Roosevelt?
Yeah, he has a point there with the arrows. And
I
I
think
actually
the
didn't
noise is still
see.
back, so it has come back. So
You said?
the
Yeah,
noise just came back a bit. So kindly check for me.
Um,
is it okay now?
yes. Okay, you can speak.
Okay. So I do agree with him on the arrow parts, but I actually hadn't noticed the social media handles being shifted to the right
Okay.
until he had actually mentioned
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
I think that was being kept way out of view. The only thing that we saw was welcome to church and
Mm,
Okay. So it means this design means that sometimes you just cannot make the perfect design, but I think it can be close to perfect. So
I think this is what you call
this
the one
is
with the
come again.
sorry. I think I interrupted the speakers.
Okay,
we
I
can't
think
hear
the
you.
call we can't really hear you.
That I was saying I should have raised the hand first to speak.
Oh, no
Oh, no,
problem, no
no
problem.
problem. Don't worry, yeah.
Now, I
Please, you
think
can go ahead.
yeah, I think this is what he was saying when he said no, you in a way bend the rules a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also feel like one kind of principle also took the lead before the other principles did.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's one thing we see first before we now come to the others and we really like, oh, okay, there's something
Yeah.
small
Mm,
here, there's something small here.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I also think that with these particular designs, it shows that even great designers do make mistakes. Yeah, great designers also do make mistakes. We are all not perfect. So sometimes, even as a great designer, you can also make some kind of mistakes. So I think this flyer really emphasized that. Big Mike.
Okay. Okay. So I think Roosevelt has said it all. There's nothing like perfect design. but we try as much as possible to produce our very best in our creative journey. So I think so far, do any of you have any questions for us, or so that we can wrap up and then end the day? So do any of us have questions for us?
Yeah,
Francis, yeah, you can talk.
Okay, so concerning bending the rules in design, or trying to think outside the box, when exactly is it appropriate to go off course to actually do something good when it comes to a design?
Okay, the question is to all of us, please. when is it appropriate for us to bend the rules? When is it appropriate for us to bend the rules?
I think it depends on the. It will depend on the design that you be doing at that particular moment. With some designs, whenever let's say whenever the client comes to and tell them maybe this is what I want. Sometimes at that point in time, an idea comes into your mind, and draft you start drafting something in your mind. So sometimes to think outside the box, it will depend on the kind of design that you are working on. But there isn't any specific time or let's
Okay.
say thing that maybe when you are working on a design that you see this, it means you need to think outside the box. No, there's no specific time to do that. You can always think outside the box and then work on the design.
Okay. Please, should I also say something, or it's fine? Because I feel like
Oh,
it's
you can say
like
something.
that.
Feel free, Chief.
Feel free.
I'm already free now. Okay. Okay. Personally, personally, I feel like
Uh-huh.
as you are there, not only on like when you get a project from someone, but as you are there, you can be trying some things on your own. See, so the more you practice with this bending of rules to make it your own, but the thing looks very catchy, the thing really works. I feel like that's the best way. Because sometimes you go and break the rule, you bend the rule, and then the client might or may not like it at all, like at all.
That one is true.
So
It's true.
yeah, so I feel like you can
It's
also
true.
practice them more, and you can also search for inspirations, like how we gave you these ones all on
Mm.
Pinterest, so that you can see how they broke the rules, but everything feels very good. You understand? So I feel like it's one best way to learn, and also produce the very best.
And even sometimes when you are designing, then you make a mistake. It can even lead to a different style.
Okay,
Sometimes
okay.
mistakes also leads to different style. It will be like
I think it's true.
you thought of it outside the box, but then it was a mistake. But then since it still work, you accept that.
All right.
Yeah.
Please, any
But
other questions? No, please, we need a question from you.
I don't I don't
Oh,
have any question.
Oh, try any question. Any question.
Oh no.
Okay, 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 okay. So, today
summarize
this is what
everything for us.
we have learned
Mhm.
so far.
Mm.
So, yeah, from all what we've learned that less is more, based on simplicity, and also sometimes when you're designing as a graphic designer, you need to be in the shoes of an audience, so that they'll probably like what is wrong, and also you know you have to keep things aligned, with the consistency and then the alignment and other things. And
Okay.
also you can also get feedback from others. Sometimes you design and feel like, oh, can I give it to this fellow designer, or maybe someone you think that, oh, has this kind of little bit of sense that, oh, someone sometimes when you send someone design, the person will just insult you, the person will just say something to just discourage you. Understand? But you try
Yeah.
and get someone you think that, oh, this person can. The person is not a designer actually, but the person can also, oh, I see it like this. How do you see this? I see it like this. I see it like that. So, and then you try and work on it before you send it to the client. So yeah, this what we have learned so far. I really, personally, I really enjoyed this session. Though we are not that many, but
Yeah,
I'm really
same.
glad. I'm really glad I have two of you here. Uh, I really appreciate that, and I feel like we can still do more. And then I hope I'm sure it's because of the church meeting, the Easter program. That's why you didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, we are still in for questions or recommendations or suggestions, and then if there is no other, we can end.
And also one more thing, one more thing. You after this session, you post the PDF of what we discussed over here in the WhatsApp group, and then you also upload this session to the YouTube channel as well, so that those who missed the session can listen to or can listen to or can watch the session later. Big Mike.
Okay, so thank you
Uh,
very much for joining.
please, I have a
And
question.
uh,
Wait,
okay,
no
no,
start.
okay, no, okay.
Hello.
No, please,
Yeah,
Van,
Mills, we
please, can
can
you
hear
mute
you.
yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask how many times would we have this meeting in a week so that we add it to our schedule and then we know when we have the meeting.
Oh,
It will be once. That's Saturdays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, without any further, how do you call it, additions or missions or recommendations and blah blah
Classes.
blah blah blah. We want to end this meeting, and then I really appreciate you for joining. And we'll see. I'll meet you in the group, and then if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, and anything, please, we really need it. We really need it. And then I really appreciate you all for joining. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Welcome, boss.
Okay. Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.